So you're telling me that shifting the cloud, while it might alleviate some of the trouble with infrastructure management, doesn't actually address the data security layer challenges. Hey, Ryan. So, what are the pros and cons of doing a lift and shift to the cloud from on prem?
Kelly, that's a great question. Interestingly enough, it's kind of a common trend that we're seeing around organizations is, they start to assess their data on-prem in filers, large NAS arrays, and they find a lot of problems. They're old, they're legacy, they've been there for years and even decades in some cases, and some organizations just decide instead of dealing with the problems on-prem, let's just move to the cloud. And I think there are a lot of pros there. First and foremost, you're eliminating quite a few variables in the equation. You don't necessarily have to deal with the security issues with the underlying infrastructure. You're not necessarily always focusing on, the OS security anymore. But unfortunately, it's not perfect. A lot of the same data issues that you have on-prem still persist in the cloud as well.
So, basically, by eliminating that underlying infrastructure, they can alleviate some of the challenges, the management and the upkeep, and even kind of renewing that. But in terms of the data, those challenges don't go away. Is there a method or model that they've been using to address that as they move it to the cloud?
Yeah, I mean, think about the shared responsibility model a little bit. You have to understand what you own and what your cloud service provider, your vendor owns. And oftentimes for these large cloud service providers, they do own all the compute, all the underlying infrastructure, but they're not taking responsibility for the data. What kind of data is put up there, who has access to it, how are they getting the access? And a lot of the issues that we see on prem with direct access, lack of least privilege model or security group management, they're not getting any easier in the cloud with collaboration platforms and the ease of sharing. We're allowing users to create even more direct permissions, and it gets quite complex quite quickly. So at the end of the line, it's not really making our lives that much easier from a data perspective.
Right. So you're telling me that shifting the cloud, while it might alleviate some of the trouble with infrastructure management, doesn't actually address the data security layer challenges.
Yeah, exactly.